Hi everybody, welcome to Jin's Wall Street News. On Wednesday after the bell, Oracle announced financial results for fiscal 2025 Q4 ended May 31st. The company expects current quarter's revenue to decrease 5% quarter over quarter, but it expects full year revenue to rise 16% on a yearly basis. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the number of Americans receiving benefits after an initial week of aid jumped from 1,902,000 to 1,956,000, the highest since November 2021. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Thursday that the Producer Price Index increased 0.1% in May, below expectations of a 0.2% gain. 10-year Treasury yield falls to 4.34% as investors are digesting the recent economic data and the geopolitical issue in the Middle East. Dan Niles, the founder of Niles Investment Management, talked about Nvidia on Thursday, quote, "We wrote in April that he really liked Nvidia again. You're seeing inference demand really take off." On Wednesday after the bell, Oracle announced financial results for fiscal 2025 Q4 ended May 31st. The company reported $15.9 billion of revenue for Q4 ended May 31st, up 13% from the previous quarter, above its previously estimated guidance of $15.6 billion. Operating income increased 17% from $4.36 billion in Q3 to $5.11 billion in Q4. When it comes to the guidance, the company expects current quarter's revenue to be between $14.9 billion and $15.2 billion, the midpoint of $15.1 billion, down 5% quarter over quarter. Despite the 5% decrease in the quarterly guidance, shares of Oracle jumped to an all-time high on Thursday due to its full-year guidance rising 16% year over year. Oracle CEO Safra Catz said during the conference call, quote, "Since it's the beginning of fiscal year 2026, I'd like to comment on the financial acceleration we expect to see in the coming years. So for fiscal year 26, I expect that total cloud revenue will grow over 40% in constant currency, up from 24% in fiscal year 25. I expect the cloud infrastructure revenue will grow over 70%, up from 51% in fiscal year 25. I expect total revenue will be at least $67 billion, up 16% in constant currency, and up more than $1 billion from our prior guidance." According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the number of Americans claiming unemployment benefits remained unchanged at 248,000 in the week ended June 7th from the previous week. In addition, the number of Americans receiving benefits after an initial week of aid jumped from 1,902,000 to 1,956,000 in the week ended May 31st, the highest since November 2021. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Thursday that the Producer Price Index for final demand increased 0.1% in May from the previous month, below expectations of a 0.2% gain, up 2.6% over the last 12 months. The US dollar index had decreased Wednesday after the CPI numbers came in softer than expected. Then it tumbled below 98 as the continuing jobless claims jumped to the highest since November 2021, and the PPI data also came in lower than expected. But it's rebounding above 98 as investors are monitoring the geopolitical issue in the Middle East. 10-year Treasury yield fell right after the continuing jobless claims and the PPI numbers were reported at 8:30 a.m. Thursday. Then it moved up and down above 4.35%. But it falls to 4.34% as the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East escalated. Then Niles, the founder of Niles Investment Management, talked about Nvidia on Thursday, quote, "With Nvidia, we've been talking about since the middle of last year. We thought there'd be a digestion phase because training demand was going to flatten out." Nvidia stock went down 49% from peak to trough. We wrote in April that he really liked Nvidia again. You're seeing inference demand really take off. Google talked about the tokens they've processed being up 5x in Q1 this year versus a year ago. Okay, this is the end of today's news. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.